Enjoy and subscribe.
Is this thing on? Is this thing working? Okay. So, Santos the cat has 5,000 followers on TikTok. Way more than me and my two best friends combined. This cat has obliterated us with the amount of people that follow him. And I'm super proud and super happy because I always believed in Santos. I just cannot believe how many other people do too. He's literally getting followers every minute. I think one of his videos is going viral. But we'll see. It's been hard to get one that will just woo woo ride the wave. Woo 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 woo. I was actually good at that. I am participating in Janine Amapola's 31 Days of Proverbs challenge. And the whole time I was reading the Psalms, the book of Psalms. So that's great. I'm off to a great start. Yesterday was Earth Day. Yeah, just a lot is happening and not happening. Some things I want to kind of keep private. I'm still in New York. I'm still writing this out. Doing what I can. Where are my glasses? Where's my my keys? Oh, that background is nice. That looks good. Hi, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about Santos the cat. And then I like this.
Somebody in his community, and somebody asks him, where do thoughts come from? Have you ever thought that? Where do thoughts come from? And so I was really kind of leaning in because I wanted to hear what he had to say about this. Because if you think about it, where do they come from? Where do thoughts come from? It's a good question. And so today we're going to be talking about every live, and every Saturday I do a Zoom full experience. Last week we had 333 people, and this week I hope the number continues to climb, because this is the point that I make every live and every live experience. So he says, so the girl says, where do thoughts come from? And he says, well, he started with a story. And he started with a story from Buddha. And that Buddha was saying, one of his students was asking for the cause of suffering. And the Buddha told him, if someone shoots you with an arrow, and the arrow is stuck inside of you, do you think it's a better idea to sit there and say, why did they do that? And where did that come from? And why me? And how come this happened again? And I wonder where that person was coming from. And I wonder, if there's an arrow stuck in you, you don't contemplate why did this happen and where did it come from and get to the root of the problem. You take the arrow out, right? You take the arrow out. But what we normally do in life is something happens and we start wanting to figure out, why did it happen? Why did they say that? Why is this happening to me? What did it mean? How come this is another time this arrow? So we shoot what's called a second arrow. So the first arrow comes in, there's pain, there's suffering, but then instead of just pulling out the arrow, our thoughts really keep feeding the suffering. So put a yes if you know what I'm talking about. So the Buddha's talking about the second arrow. Don't shoot the second arrow, right? One arrow comes, something happens, coronavirus happens, and then we keep going, why is this happening? How long is this happening? What if it doesn't work out? What if I lose my job? What if I don't have any money? What if my parents? So it's our thoughts that keep the suffering alive, right? That keep the suffering alive. So that was the first part of his answer. But then the second part of his answer, which was, he said, think of thoughts as these bubbles. He's like, they're not exactly bubbles of energy, but just think of a thought as a form, a bubble of energy. And think about that. This isn't exactly how he described it, but I'll give you my version of it. Think that you go into an office, you go into a home, you go into a party, you can feel what the energy is of that place. You can feel it, right? So there's a feeling, there's an energetic feeling, but that there's also thought forms, and these thought forms are like bubbles. So here was the really interesting part. So he said, if you're already in a state that's kind of negative, or you're in a state of fear, you're in a state of stress or worry, and there are in the environment, the people around you also are a similar vibration or a similar mood or similar attitude. There's a collective thought stuff. And so when you are vulnerable, you're vulnerable to these thoughts that aren't yours, but they're part of the collective, but they are magnetized towards you. It's like the bubble gets stuck on you. So what I thought was super interesting about this was, he was saying that when you can actually pick up other people's thoughts. So there's a collective. So I thought that was really important for us to think about, because right now, put in the chat box, I want you to put in the chat box right now, what do you think? Just based on your own feeling, just based on what your friends are saying, based on how your family is being, based on your interactions with other people, what do you think is the overall, and we could say globally, what's kind of the global energy? What's the global energy right now that you think is happening? Do you think most people are stressed? Do you think most people are grateful? Do you think most people are just uncertain, freaking out, angry? We see all these people protesting, right? They don't want to be stuck at home anymore and they're protesting. So what would you say, just in general, just by looking, what do you think is the collective consciousness, the strongest energy that's happening in the entire world right now? Put that down. Hi, Amy Bishop. Hello. So depression, having deep, loving conversations with your loved ones. You're not connecting with your friends and family. There's self-anger as well. You try to control your immediate surroundings, right? We talked about being a control freak. So you create negative things in your life. Yes. Hi, Kia Woods. So we're talking about the price of fear and the payoff of fear. So I want you to get really clear right here. There's a payoff, right? So the payoff, there's always a payoff. What's your payoff? What's your payoff? Oh, if I'm scared, I get to justify my anger. I get to justify my bad eating. I get to justify my not working out. I get to justify laziness. I get to justify fear and uncertainty. Then I don't have to worry about leaving my comfort zone. Are you getting that? Loss of peace and progress. But there's also a payoff. So I want to see your payoffs. I want to see your payoffs. Not being responsible for your life. What's the payoff? What's the payoff? There is a payoff. I promise you. There is a payoff. And as soon as you start to get it, that the payoff is not something you really want, you'll be able to change it more quickly. You lose progress. Okay, good. So here's the point that I want to make. Right now, there's a lot of uncertainty, right? And right now, it's so easy. So many of my friends.